Yeah, it looks like we're live here in the house. Appreciate you guys being here with us. Go with the hat. All right, we'll do that. So, there's just a ton of things to talk about. I've been trying to keep up with this whole Trump raid thing, and man, it is subterfuge, it is confusion, and that's the usual case when we're talking about number 45. Unprecedented actions, massive Trump derangement syndrome, and you guys know I'm not a big fan, but becoming one. So I think that's what we reported on our last podcast was yeah, man, you are driving us into the loving tiny arms of the Trump faction. And right now, as we speak, Liz Cheney is down 20 some points trying to get Democrats to switch their party to vote for her so she can remain in office in Wyoming. It's not going well. I don't think they have enough Democrats there to cheat the vote. Yeah, well, what Trump said about the vote was completely fucked up and has no basis in reality, even though, as we know, the Democrats and Heil Hillary Clinton did protest the vote for 4 years. But you can't do that if you're a Republican. It makes you a racist or whatever. But so I guess if Liz Cheney loses her congressional seat, then she gets to run for president. They're saying she's going to run as an independent. I mean, I know the Democrats love her, but they have their own plans. I think that encompasses one very old, feeble, old man running, Sleepy Joe running for president. And hopefully they can infuse, I'm saying this if you're a Democrat, hopefully they can infuse enough money into Wall Street and whatnot. I know that's part of the Inflation Act is just to put $500 billion out into the world and things will get a little bit better for you. And already gas prices are going down and people won't worry as much and they'll just be like anyone but a Republican. I, for one, would love to see Liz Cheney run as a Republican for president in 2024 and go up against whoever the top tier people are in those debates, because she's going to get crushed. She's going to get ruined, man. Totally ruined. Funny how things have a way of working out. See what I'm saying? What's up, Texas? What up, Rocky McSquid? Hopefully we get some more people to join us. One of the reasons I was inspired to come up today is not just because my cable got restored. We lost our cable for a few days. That's how the real economy is. Yeah, they cut you off at like midnight and you're just done until they say you're not done. It's pretty much a monopoly. But one of the reasons I wanted to come on today, first of all, we were thinking about canceling our show over at Acelli Network, which we do live every Thursday. I do a live show, kind of like this live podcast, because I love to get the feedback. And, it's a challenge. It's a challenge doing live deprogramming, which is what we do. Not programming, deprogramming, not learning, unlearning. It's a challenge to do that. And I like to live up to challenges. I'm big on that. So what I did was on the last Thursday show, which I thought was excellent. If you haven't heard it, you can go to Ocelli Effect. Oh, that's right. They're banned on YouTube. You're going to have to go to ocelli.com, Ochelli, ocelli.com, and then you can get it over there. And we had Andy Steele on, who's one of the muckety mucks over at Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, and he has a new book out which just is really cool. It's Faction. You know what that means? It's a fiction book. It's called Born on 9/11, like born on 4th of July. I did have Ron Kovic from the guy Tom Cruise played in Born on 4th of July on my show live back in the day. And that was pretty cool. But Born on 9/11 is Andrew Steele's new book, and I hope you guys get it. We did about an hour, and he was staying pretty close to the structural architect engineer facts, and of course I'm just all over the place, which could be good listening. I don't know. And then Bruce Gagnon from spaceforpeace.org. They've been out as activists for 30 years, trying to make sure that space doesn't become the next new war front, and it is. It's bad. It's really, really bad. Lasers and nukes and weaponry and whatnot, spy satellites and space junk, and it's super bad. And I just thought he did a great job. I may not have asked the best questions, but man, he just came through, and he always does. He's been on my show dozens and dozens of times over the years, and I knew he would bring the goods, and he totally did. But we did hear, I asked people like, hey, if you listen to this show, because, I hear we have thousands of downloads or whatever on that channel, and I don't know, because I don't hear from people. If I don't hear from you, then it's just like it's not happening. See what I'm saying? But I did hear from a lot of people, and they want me to keep going with that. So I guess I have no choice but to keep doing that every Thursday at 3 o'clock Pacific time. So there's two things I want to really hit on this Thursday show. One of them is Anarchapulco. You guys know about that? It's heaven for anarchists. Should I say too much on that, or should I save it? It's a little bit of follow the leader, which I've often found in kind of libertarian, anarcho-capitalist circles. Yeah, you kind of better have the right thing to say. It's, but, and of course, Acapulco is one of the most dangerous places in the Western Hemisphere. HBO has a new documentary about it. So I wanted to catch up with some of the people that are involved in that, and we've invited them on the show. And then I want to do a tribute to one of my all-time favorite people I've met in all of my travels, former presidential candidate Michael Badnarik, who we lost here just a week or so ago. What was his nickname? Godfather of the Constitution, something like that. I mean, he had these constitutional classes which were par excellence, man. And I got to take the class when we were in the Black Hills in South Dakota. We were all staying at this flop house. We were doing a massive event over there. If you guys remember the Granny Warriors, they organized that, which meant there was plenty of moonshine over there. The band Poker Face played. It was such a good time. If you miss that, man, you miss one of the best events ever. It was so great. And so we stayed in the house. We had a house for some of the artists and the speakers and whatever. And Michael was giving his constitutional class over there. He was an expert in the Constitution. And I know it's not a popular thing these days, just not that popular. But man, I mean, Michael Badnarik was just great on every level. If you remember in the 2004 election, he was the nominee, the Libertarian Party nominee for president. And good luck trying to find this on the internet, because I have. Him and Jill Stein I think they chained themselves to the presidential debate that year. It was the Skull and Bones debate. Remember, it was Bush and Kerry. They were classmates at Yale. They were both members of Skull and Bones, which Tim Russert asked some pretty good questions about. And I'd later interviewed Tim Russert, may he rest in peace, from Meet the Press, when Meet the Press was actually good. And I got to ask him about that. And you can go back and listen. I think it's on our channel. You can go back and listen to the Tim Russert interview. It got me in a lot of trouble with a lot of people, you know. But Michael and Jill Stein both working together, the Green Party and the Libertarian Party. Can you? It's like it's something that I've called before. It's the meeting of the original Tea Party and the original Occupy. I called it OccuT, right? And I was about to do some major work in that when Van Jones and others wrecked the whole thing. It got completely all taken over and wrecked. And it was such a reclamation. Speaking of wrecks, it was a reclamation, pun intended, reclamation project. I couldn't do it. But that was Michael Badnarik. And as far as I'm concerned, after that 2004 election, the Libertarian Party lost its way. You know, all the dealings I had with them. And just to remind you, if you don't know, and I can prove this any way you want me to, I was working with Fox News at the conventions in 2004. They shipped me to New York and to Boston to cover the conventions, gave me a spot on Media Row, right? Food, hotel, like everything. Took care of everything, right? Gave me massive press passes, one of those at the Republican convention in New York. I had a few extra passes, which were for my production crew, and I gave up my production pass to Alex Jones, and he ended up making a movie about that. Yeah, I know. I'm such a bad person. That's how I roll, right? I wanted you guys to get Alex Jones's perspective, and I gave up my own production guy, which I really, really, really needed, to make sure he had that pass so he could go backstage and interview David Gergen and all the stuff you guys love and don't like about me, right? But as far as I'm concerned, and the reason I brought that up is because that year, the Libertarian Party was having their convention in Texas, and they wanted me to pay. They weren't gonna like give me any perks, no access, no passes, no nothing, man. And they wanted me to pay like hundreds of dollars to go to the convention, you know? And I think it was just after the Republican and Democrat conventions and the Skull and Bones conventions in 2004. And this is where I saw Barack Obama for the first time, by the way, in Boston, and knew, watch out for this guy. This is where I saw Bill Clinton speak, and nobody wanted anything to do with him, and they had to hold up applause signs, and they had people running around the aisles. This is what you saw on TV, what you didn't see behind the scenes that I saw, I personally witnessed in Boston, that they had to force people to applaud for Bill Clinton when he gave his speech there for Skull and Bones John Kerry, who, as you know, lost the election. But then just after that, I wish I could remember his name. He was like the head guy at the Libertarian Party, and he's charging me money to go cover the event that that Fox and others had just paid me to go to in New York, and I live in Texas. You don't have to like buy me a plane ticket or whatever. I'll just go down there. I'll pay my own freight, and I'll buy my own food and whatever, but just don't charge me to go in there. And they did. And that was the election that Michael Badnarik was in. That, man, if I think about it now, just think about if he won that. Whew. I mean, him and Harry Brown, you know what I'm saying? You guys are probably too young to remember back when I had my syndicated radio show, and sometimes I would have to be out for whatever reason, and I would have fill-in guests, like I filled in for Alex Jones when he was out. I would have fill-in guests and loose change guys, Luke Radowski, some of these guys that were all just coming up, and I would just let them host my show, and Harry Brown was one of them, and he hosted my show multiple times. I mean, that's the real Libertarian Party. And once they killed those guys off, and, I know you guys like Gary Johnson. I wasn't a huge fan, but some of the things they did, Bob Barr and all that stuff, man, they lost me. They just really lost me. Michael Badnarik was the heart of Libertarian Party, of libertarianism. But he died here about a week or two ago, and we had an amazing experience with him, my wife Tony Ray and me. He came out here to Seattle a couple of years ago, took us out for sushi. We had just a great time. It was great seeing him, and I've done tons of events with him and spent a lot of time with the guy. Right, took his constitutional class. And it was just super fun to sit and drink some sake and have some sushi and just hang out with him, and that's the last time I saw him a couple years back. And so then I got this. Just like a week or two ago. This is Michael knowing he's about to die. And he sent out this letter, and hopefully YouTube lets this stay on, because I get it, they don't like this kind of stuff. So if you go to my Facebook, you'll see there's a picture of him and his birthday, literally days before he died. He did a 12-hour party. That's Michael all the way. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, good night. My name is Michael Badnarik, and apparently I'm dead. Posted after he died. I'm not communicating with you from the great beyond, quote unquote. I merely had the foresight to write this while I was still viable and conscious. And I asked a friend of mine to post this to my website for me after I was gone. This gives me the opportunity to write my own eulogy. This is again Michael Badnarik's final words. If you knew me while I was still warm, he had a great sense of humor. He was a funny guy, man, which just worked. Super smart, has massive integrity, has a great sense of humor, man. If you knew me while I was still warm, you probably noticed that I lived my life by my rules and never allowed somebody else to dictate what my values were going to be. Now would be a good time to cue Frank Sinatra's I Did It My Way, which I frequently sang in the shower. It disappoints me to think that this quality made me so unique, that he did it his way. I encourage everyone to stop being so submissive, especially to nonsensical government edicts. In short, grow up and grow a pair. The things that I hope I'm remembered for are my honesty and integrity, definitely. I often told people, quote, don't ask questions that you don't want the answers to. It never helps anything to be in denial. My father was a role model for integrity, and my experience in scouts forced the idea that truly good and a respectable man was someone who was trustworthy. I tried very hard to never make promises I couldn't keep. And I definitely never made any idle threats, quote unquote, idle. Most people could tell by the look in my eyes that I was more than willing to carry out with the negative reinforcement that I was promising. From an early age, my life was one of adventure, one after another: scuba diving, sailing, mountain climbing, whitewater canoeing, and rafting. Don't forget skydiving, but that came later. I was lucky enough to go through my life without much fear of anything. Keep in mind that fear is a symptom of ignorance. And I'll add insecurity. He goes on to finish. If you are afraid, the simple solution is to learn as much as you can about that subject. When you know what you're doing, the fear simply goes away. Michael Badnarik. Yeah. I mean, just a great American that unfortunately won't be remembered. You know, we don't remember people like that, especially now. The new generation wants to erase and kick out everyone. It's as if we never existed. And I'm an old head, and so it's happening to me too. You know, man, he knew he was dying, and he wrote those were his final words, and he was going to make sure that everybody could hear the last thing he had to say. You know, what was his deathbed words? Those were his deathbed words I just read to you. So I'm going to do a tribute. I've got a bunch of people from Texas, a bunch of friends of Michael's. We're going to try to do that here this Thursday if they let us. You know, that's up to the Acelli network and all people involved in it. But you know, and I see this worship of Trump, and it's fine, dude. I get it. You know, he's the enemy of the people. I mean, he has become public enemy number one. And I'm gonna tell you, the last time I met with Michael, I don't want to lose some of you people, but he liked Trump. Not loved, but liked him. You know. And it makes me sad. It makes me sad to lose good people because we just don't have enough of them. And it doesn't seem like, however the factory of the people-making machine works, that there's just not enough of them. That all we're doing is making robots who accept robot technology, who are just wrecked by massive cognitive dissonance and fear and insecurity. And we needed more people like him. We needed him to live to be 90 years old and to be an elder statesman. But maybe one of the things that killed him was just being almost forgotten. He liked being him. I could relate to that. There have been times in my life where I really enjoyed being me. Maybe I'll get back there. Maybe you'll get there with me, right? But he knew what an influence he was on people. He knew that he had almost altered history in some way. And when you look at the Republican Party now, sorry to say, Democrats, you don't have any of this. He knew that libertarianism caught on. And how did it catch on? Because of men like him and Harry Brown and Ron Paul. Right? And I'm not worshiping at the altar of libertarianism, but I do appreciate it. And I do see its influence, right? Listen, there's no utopia. I've been saying that for 15 years, man. You're not getting your utopia. That doesn't mean you shouldn't strive for it. The opposition or the people that you guys interact with all the time, they're not getting their utopia either. What we're getting is an amalgamation, a soup, a stew of everything that we fight for and push for. The things that we passively sit back and don't involve ourselves in don't become part of that stew. They're not even a little bit of the spice. They're not a little bit of the salt or the pepper, right? It's not even the water. It's no part of it. So, I'm pretty proud that I had something to do with how things are going, although it's not my utopia because I never believed in a utopia, but it's not even close to where my solutions would be. Nothing like that, I mean, they should have taught, instead of critical race theory, and I get all that. Listen, man, I mean, nobody wants racists in the world, and everybody should be accountable. But instead of that, if they'd have taught Michael Badnarik's constitutional class to every kid, including my own, right, which I did teach my son in ways that my parents and grandparents never taught me, where would we be now? He deserves to be honored and never forgotten. And so I'm going to get everyone, and I'm going to bring all the players. And if they allow it, I'm going to do that show this Thursday on the Acelli Network, and because I haven't quite figured out how to do it here. As you notice, I haven't had any guests on this because just nothing I do works. I'm trying to figure it out. If you guys have some serious technological expertise and you want to pitch in here, I could use the help. I'm also trying to do stuff on Rumble, but so far they haven't let me upload anything, and they've made it really, really, really freaking hard for me to do something there. And I just don't have a lot of patience for shit like that, to be honest with you. I'll answer whatever questions you guys have. I'm not going to be on too much longer. Regarding the whole Trump thing, I mean, just what a colossal mess that is. Depending on this is not how the truth works. Oh, well, on one channel, the truth is this, but on another channel, the truth is that. No, the truth is the truth. What is the truth? Do you guys know? Because I don't. I feel like I'm getting played. Like the whole thing is a massive illusion, and certainly from the Democrat side of the aisle, 80 some days before the midterm election, where they could just lose it all and get, all kinds of trouble, man. I it looks like a bit of a gambit on their part, but all I know is that every time I hear that Trump's going to be in an orange jumpsuit somewhere and he did something horrible, it turns out not to be true. So I'm just going to go ahead and, if you guys don't mind, I'm just going to go ahead and wait and see what classified documents that he had in his house and why he should be charged and on a criminal nature and disqualified for running in 2024. Like I've said in past podcasts, I mean, if he's such a piece of shit, why are you afraid to run against him? I mean, that's what you guys, democracy dies in darkness. That's what voting is all about, man. Anyone should be able to run. This is one of the things. You can't vote if you're a felon. You can't have a gun if you're a felon. Can't run for anything. I know. Sorry about that, folks. It's freaking hot in here. Can't run for anything if you have skeletons in your closet, man. Except for skull and bones, right? And then you can have a whole election all to yourself. I mean, literally coffins, literally skulls in their closet, and they can run, and it's fine. Not Trump, So I don't know, man. I haven't seen. All I know is I hear some very vague reporting on they confiscated some classified documents. They confiscated those, and then there is a legal debate on can a president declassify anything he wants to. I mean, is that what we're doing? We're having a semantical argument on raiding a president's house. Is it because if it's a semantical argument, then we've really lost our way. This is, and I hope you Democrats know it can happen to you. Now that this precedent has been set, let's go raid Obama's house or Biden's house. I mean, well, we don't have to raid Biden's house. They just leave that out like the trash. They just leave. I mean, everyone knows what it is, which is incredible. You don't have to go break down Hunter Biden or Joe Biden's door because they just tell you what it is. Yeah, I mean, it just shit bothers me, man. It just so. But again, why should I comment on something I don't know about? And then it's the newest thing is, well, the Republicans have radicalized people to go out and attack the FBI. I mean, do you remember? Is anyone old enough here? Do you guys have enough memory? Has it all gone down the memory hole? Has it all gone down there? Because do you remember when the Democrats were pissed about COINTELPRO and J. Edgar Hoover and all that shit, man? Do you remember that? What happened? What happened? What is so bad? What has happened that's so bad that the Republicans have to be the anti-war party and have to be against overuse of imperial powers by the federal government? What's happened to that? How far have we fallen? How messed up is everything? It just seems to me like the Earth's axis shifted politically. No wonder people are scared and confused and violent and crazy. When I got my internet cut off the other day, the shit they were telling me to try to do to hook it back up. I mean, and I went to school for computers. I mean, man, you want me to do what set of numbers do you want me to read back to you? And I was getting operators from India and Asia or whatever. I could barely understand what they were saying. I'm not going to out. This is my coffee cup. I'm not going to out my network, because they do a pretty good job all in all. And it's healthy that there are new players in the wireless market. And it's my bad, basically. But man, what a horrific mess that was. So that's going on. I was thinking about, what do you guys think about this? I was thinking about starting a channel where I would cover just on one channel, and this is all I'll cover, is the everyday people using their racist firearms to repel home invaders, because I see these every day now. Where I live, we had massive shootings, gang shootings, all weekend. I was this close to one here a couple weeks back. You just, one of those things you hear about in the news for a second, and then it just goes away because, I think we have to stand our ground. Let's put it like that. It's a metaphor. It's the real thing. People are defending themselves. And I'm not so sure it's a bad thing. Let's just put it this way, because we're on YouTube. I understand why people would go with open carry and surround the FBI field office in Phoenix, Arizona, where I ran a 50,000 watt radio station and lived for several years and met my wife. I understand it. You've created this atmosphere. Now, I don't know if it was on purpose. I don't know if it's just an accident or it's design. I just don't know. But you can't be that surprised. You declared war on about 100 million people. What did you think was going to happen? Did that ever enter your head? When you were about to raid Mar-a-Lago, when you know, all the things you've done over the years, and let's remember that they snooped on Trump's presidential campaign in 2016 with an illegal warrant. Later, it came out that it was based on lies. Sorry. No, they never said sorry. My bad. That all the Russia stuff, they lied. And they would go on endlessly on CNN and Microsoft Comcast Network. And sorry, I got allergies. And it's not what you think. I haven't done that since 1995. Those were the days. I mean, what did you think was going to happen when you did that? Well, we got half of America with us. Is this the new thing that I got to have the right opinion on? I mean, I don't have one. I don't. I mean, my opinion is you better damn well be Skippy if you're doing that. You're going that far. If you're raiding Obama's house, you better have the goods, man. And I don't think sometime after this election it's going to come out they really didn't have the goods. They just didn't have shit. If I have to guess and predict, which I hate doing, that's what I think, man. If you guys are Trump haters, please comment here and tell me why I'm fucked up. You really think that Trump took out documents out of the White House because he's being potentially going to be charged with an Espionage Act violation? Do you think he was going to go sell those to the Chinese? I mean, that sounds like something that Hunter Biden would do. They've been caught doing it. I don't think there's anything in Trump's record that says that he is a traitor. He might be a dumbass and an egomaniac and a silver spoon kid. And there's a lot of things, man. He might be a sex addict and who knows? He drinks too much Diet Coke. And there's a lot of things you could say about the dude. His hair is crazy. I mean, hard for me to say, but you know what I'm saying? I don't judge other people's looks because, hey, I look like this. If I were Trump's people, man, I'd send them out to go out on a fishing boat down by the Keys and go catch great white sharks or, I'd turn them into a mix between Teddy Roosevelt and Ernest Hemingway. Trust buster. Bust this. Bullshit. That's bullshit. They lied to you about that too. That's a lie. Everything's a lie. So that everything's a lie that you think is truth, and therefore everything that you think is truth is maybe a lie. I don't know. This is the illusion that we live in. We're supposed to tiptoe through all these landmines, and you better say the right thing, depending on where you live, right? Some of you guys live in Trump country. What if you were an anti-Trumper over there? People would get mad at you. I don't know, but I found that those people are fairly kind and won't burn your house down. Whereas on the other side, they will come for you. They'll come for you. I know we don't have a lot of people on this. Why do I even do this? I wonder sometimes. I get inspired. That's why. Uh, Mac DeIlly. Mac DeIlly. Am I pronouncing that right? In my opinion, who runs the world? I've got an interesting concept for you. I want to hear it. What is your concept? I hope you're going to put that up here. Yeah. Well, is there a God? I mean, it's up in that range, right? But if you've read anything about the Committee of 300 and the Committee of 13, and it's a bloodline thing, but it is kind of organized chaos, like most things in your life. They're fighting each other. If you go back and you look at what is it, the election of 1898, is that the election? It's just the one before Teddy Roosevelt got in. I should have been prepared. But what you noticed, and I'm going to use this as an example, what you notice is that the captains of industry, the Carnegies, the Morgans, and the Rockefellers, who hated each other and wanted to stamp each other out like cigarette butts, all got together to make sure that they would win that election. God, what a long story that is. I'll have to do a whole show on that at some point. William Jennings Bryan was the populist. He was the Donald Trump, but he was kind of a people's, well, like Donald Trump, I guess. He was a people's candidate. He advocated for silver versus gold. This is a great story. In fact, if you get a chance, go watch The Real Story of Oz. You'll find that L. Frank Baum wrote The Wizard of Oz as a tribute to William Jennings Bryan, who scared the fuck out of all the industrialists. So they got, even though they hate each other, they all got together and pooled their money together and got him out and won that election. I can't remember a lot of the other details, but I think that's a good example. So there is a bloodline, very, very old bloodline. Some of that is related to the old dope trails. Okay. That's how they made their money. That's how the Kennedys made their money. I mean, they're still around today. They're still, like, that's what Afghanistan is about. That's what Korea is, North Koreans, all that shit's about. Iran. This is about very ancient drug trails where they move drugs through. Opium wars, all the rest of that, which we're having now with fentanyl here in this country. Very freaking sad subject. Just can't stand it. I don't even like talking about it. It makes me so mad. So the answer is nobody runs the world. But let's just be very clear on one thing. The people that they tell you are the richest people in the world are not. Gia Ward Griffin, who wrote Creature from Jekyll Island, we've talked about this before in our podcast. He used to go do all this work on these tax-free foundations. I challenge you to go look at that. What tax-free foundations mean. I want you to go, figure that out. Why aren't the Rothschilds on the Forbes list of richest people in the world? Because all their money is in foundations. That's why they don't have to pay taxes. But that's up to us. We'll be, especially now, I know there's some debate on this. Are there 86,000 new IRS armed agents going out to audit all of us and to attack people with a political bent? Yes. Because the head of the IRS just came out and did not deny that and said, look, just don't cheat on your taxes and everything will be fine. In the next sentence, he says, I know it's hard to be audited. It's going to cost you a lot of money and you're going to have to prove yourself innocent. And no one likes it, but we're going to do that. So much for taxing the rich. Hey, man, I don't even need you to tax the rich. Stop giving them welfare. Stop it. Stop it right now. Stop corporate welfare. Stop giving the richest people in the world welfare. Stop it. Austerity should start from the top. Okay? I mean, since you're just printing money and all right, now I've lost you. I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes I get upset. I was in a nonsensical traffic jam here last night in Seattle. They've been doing this by my house for months. They have taken I-5 down into one lane. No construction, no reason. And I know we have a gas crisis, and I know you're very concerned about global warming and whatever else, but there we are, a parking lot past midnight. So I'm a little, and my club was just packed last night, so I'm a little tired. Sorry, man. Did I answer your question? I went a little too far with that. Thank you, Mac Dilly. I see my girl was listening. All right. Love you, baby. You're the best. I have the best girl in the whole world. 23 years. I love her more today than I did the first day. Every day I love her more. Rocky Mountain Squid. Love you too, man. My opinion on Dave Smith. I should know that. I don't. My bad. Tell me who Dave Smith is. Maybe it's in there somewhere with Bela Lugosi. I think the LP party is going in a new direction now. Yeah. The Coke direction. They got hijacked, man. Listen, the thing about the Green Party and the Libertarian Party is they're there to fend off any real party. Yeah. I love the people. I love all you guys, and may you reign forever. But the truth of it is, if you're happy getting 1% of the vote and some kind of matching money or something from the federal government, man, you're on the wrong planet. That's not going to work. It hasn't worked. It's not going to work. You've been hijacked like Akuti. You've been completely taken over. They made Bob Barr a candidate. Former CIA Bob Barr. Do I have to go over the misdeeds? I mean, LP. They're gatekeepers, man. Sorry. In honor, and I know if Michael Badnarik was here with me right now, he would say the same thing, and he did. All right, I'm gonna speak for him from the grave. We talked about that the last time we hung out here recently, and yeah, man, they're gatekeepers. Not good. Well, we'll just develop a new third party. Good luck with that, especially in a climate of where anyone that votes for or promotes a third party is a traitor to this country. Don't tell your friends. They'll hate you. When will we learn? Must read article by Harry Brown published. Oh, okay. Harry Brown's article, 9/12/01, the day after 9/11. I'm sure I read that on the air back then. I don't know. I'm going to look that up, Hot Cheddar. First vote I ever cast in my entire life was for Badnarik. Michael Badnarik, Russell Branham. Yeah, man. He was the real deal. The real deal. See, you're going to have those people. They're going to come up. And I know one thing about Michael is, did he have a lot of charisma? Was he, Obama or Martin Luther King or, Malcolm X or, I don't know, name him, William Jennings Bryan. We just threw that out there. I don't think that was his strong point. Is that what we need? We need someone who's eloquent with speeches or whatnot. When I think of what we could have done with a guy like him, and maybe I'm misguided. I don't know, man. But in all of my travels, with all of my studies, and I've read thousands of books and interviewed thousands of people, including governors and senators and, you know, best-selling authors and whatnot. I mean, that guy really knew what was happening. Yeah. The LP is going in a new direction, all right. Just not the one you need. All right, Russell, I'm going to put this in too. Michael may have been born in Indiana, but he was more of a Texan than just about any other human being I've ever known. Yeah. All the way, man. Well, that's the thing about Texas. It's immigrant driven. If you remember, Texas was its own country at one point. Get into that whole how Sam Houston sold out Texas to the feds, and yeah. So, I mean, that's a thing. And so I'm one of the, I got accused of being a carpetbagger moving to Texas, but we were just immigrants. They don't lock them immigrants there. But I mean, you know, I always have some Texas blood going through me. In fact, we almost just moved back there. If they had the goods on Trump, they would have shown it by now. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna, because the whole reason they did this was because of the midterm election, Joe. If they don't show it, but see, they don't care about winning you and me over. They just want to like get their base like pissed off enough about abortion and guns and Trump that they'll get up off their lazy tech asses and go vote. Because this is midterm elections are generally known for very low voter turnout. Did you know that? That's true. Look it up. So they got to do whatever they can do to I know you're going to skip voting in this election, but just go vote. Just because Trump, we got to stop Trump. I mean, it's just an act of desperation. And then the whole, I don't mind telling you guys, I'm pro-choice for everything. See, I don't have cognitive dissonance. So I'm pro-choice for everything. Yeah, just stay out of my business and I'll stay out of yours. I know I maybe don't agree with late term abortions and whatever. That's none of my fucking business. Just stay out of my business and I'll stay out of yours. And stop picketing abortion clinics, because you don't know what people have been through. You don't know the circumstances, you know. But this is the tactic of the Democrats, which just makes it so hard to be one. I just don't understand. A lot of my friends are Democrats. Like, how could you even be one with all this? So they're just trying to like rile people up. I don't think we'll see any evidence. I don't think nothing is going to come out. It's going to be nothing, but innuendo. That's it. Innuendo. Subterfuge, innuendo, rhetoric. And they don't care about converting you and me. They don't care about convincing us that it's okay to raid a president's house. I mean, they don't give a fuck about that. All they want to do is get their base riled up. Well, they've riled up a base, but it's not their base. I don't know. That's my opinion. The hit girl. Oh, you're new here. She concurs with Joe, which I guess concurs with me. I'm doing this. This isn't the tribute I'm doing for Michael. I got to make that really super awesome, and I'm working on that right now for this Thursday. Heather, Dave is a bit of a narcissist, but you have to be a little bit of a narcissist. Who's Dave? Dave on the chat? Sorry, Heather. I, for one, am happy the Mises caucus took over. Meet Angela for a second during the anti-mandate rally in LA. She seems legit. Okay, I'm going to take that. Whatever that means, I'm going to try to decode it. Sorry, guys, I'm old. Sometimes I don't get this. Is remember when I didn't used to do chats, and now it's the thing to do. So I'm trying really hard for you guys. The pool is where I get red flags. Okay. Is that my homie Heather down in Oregon? Good people right there. If that's you, man, I love you, girl. Good people. Oh, Tim Pool. Yeah, Tim Pool is butter soft, woefully underinformed. He has some pretty good guests. I know, because he goes to his podcast in a limo. Everybody wants to be on that show. I'd like to be on that show. I like when Luke's on that show. You guys seen that one? What I don't like is when they have a clickbait headline on the Tim Pool cast. What is it? Timcast IRL. And I'm like, okay, cool. Because I kind of like Tim. You know, I'd love to be on that show. You guys should write him and tell him to put me on. I like when Luke Rudowski is on, but then what happens inevitably is that this guy that is his best friend or whatever, this guy's no business being on the media at all. This Ian guy starts talking, and then I'm out. I'm just like, bam, I'm out. Has anyone told Tim Pool that? That guy sucks, man. Now I'm never getting on that show, and I need the promotion big time. That guy sucks, man. Is it just me? Why is he talking? Why is that guy talking? I mean, they literally have some, as you just mentioned, Joe, they literally have some of the biggest guests ever on that show. And they let that guy just sit and take over the whole show? It ruins it. The Hit Girl. Love the fire. I love you, Hit Girl. You and your... Nice. Hubby and I have been together 23 years, too. Cool. Hey, man. That ain't easy. You know what this is? This is love. I love you guys. That is so not easy, and good for you. I've had a lot of people lecture me that I'm not a good husband, or, you know, we're not Christian enough, or whatever, man. Coming from the Violet Jones camp. Yeah. They're all fucked up. And a lot of my friends, man, they rotate in and out of relationships, and we hate that we almost feel like we're cursing them, like we've broken them up or whatever. And we may not have money, but we have love, man. I'm with my soulmate, so I'm glad you are too. And 23 years is something to really celebrate. It's really cool. Hey, Nick, good evening to you. Gatekeepers. Yeah. All right. Did I nail it on that? Texas is very diverse. No, I mean, not really. I mean, there's Austin, which God knows what it is now. We tried to move back there. They wouldn't have it. And I have connections. We used all our connections. Couldn't move back to. I'd be living in Austin right now if it had worked out. And then there's Houston and Dallas, and then there's Dallas, which I'm sorry. I'd rather die than live there. Sorry, Dallas people. This is really one of the worst places I've ever been to. I did a lot of speaking engagements up there. One night, the cops chased me and my people around for hours. It's a great story. It'll be in my book. We did, was it Nine Eyes Tattoo studio up there? They had us up and they had an outdoor patio, bands played, and I spoke. And as soon as I spoke, and you have to think it's outdoor and the my voice is echoing throughout all the condos around that place. Someone called the cops because I was talking about 9/11 stuff, and they came and raided the place. Ended that shit, and then chased us all around. Waiting for us to get in our cars because we had a couple of beers, and I'm not doing that. Ducked into a Tejano bar, all Mexican bar. Like 2 a.m, no, past 2, like 3 a.m. Like the bars are supposed to be closed. This place was full of drug dealers, man. We were the only white people. Literally, when the 3 of us walked into that place, the music stopped and everyone was just looking at us. And we were like, La Policia, the cops are chasing us. They gave us after hours beers and let us sit there and cool our heels until everything was clear and we got the fuck out of there. All right. That's the short version of that story. Yeah, new here. I've been following for many years on and off. I was only off because I was trying to get back to sleep. Okay, well, that's cool. Yeah, Luke is awesome on Tim Pool. He needed to be on there all the time. Luke's my brother, man. Luke is my brother. I know he's fashioned his technique to work the internet the best way possible, and good for him. Phew, Ian, I know. We should all Jack Blood should sit in for Ian for the week. That would be cool. And then Ian would never get back on that show again. Friends or no friends. He should be on the Tim Pool Part of the Problem podcast. I don't know, you tell him that. I'm a dinosaur. I don't think they want me. Sure isn't easy. We're very rare. Yeah. Well, I mean, whiskey is whiskey. I like the rare stuff myself if I can afford it. Austin is horrible now. I know, Nick. But you're there, and all my friends are there. All my friends are in Austin. My family is in Austin. I wanted to live back there so bad and suffer with you guys. I was willing to crawl back in the bunker again. Almost moved to Austin. I'm glad we didn't. I know. I'm kind of glad too. I mean, I got this amazing house right now, man. Like, I'm so lucky. At least for 2 more weeks. We're going to have a fundraiser for the next 2 weeks. It's going to be really annoying. I have to do it because I might lose my house. Hate to break it to you. We got to meet Luke. Shook his hand. Saw him again. Nice kid. We started him out. Oh, we started that kid out. That's one of the things I'm proud of, and he's carrying it on. So that's cool. All right, it looks like we're out of comments. We're out of time. I have an allergy so bad I'm just sniffling through this whole thing. But I wanted to get something up for you guys today and do some content for you. Please. So we're about to do this massive fundraiser literally for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to hit everybody up. I super need your help to keep this all going. Okay. There's so much that goes on around here to just be a solitary person like me who does stuff like this, but who has, 20, 30 years of experience talking about the things that you guys like to hear about. So you got to keep me going, man. You need to keep me going, and I really need your help. So stay tuned. We're going to be bothering you for money for the next couple of weeks real hard, and I just need everybody to kind of put in and not look at me like a scam artist or a con artist. Take me if it's value for value. If you get value out of what I'm doing, bring value back to me, please, and my family. I'm trying to get my family out from the East Coast, and I'm trying to keep my little empire, and I mean little, it's a tiny little empire going. I just want to like keep it real and keep it going. So if you want to get a head start on that, I have my first line of t-shirts. It's 30 t-shirts. I think we've done like 10 or 15 now. So we're asking for a $50 donation. I'm going to put you on newsletters and everything else, but I'm going to send you a very, very limited edition t-shirt for a $50 donation. That's the one thing that we're doing. But we got a bunch of other things we want to offer you guys and provide as a reward for you guys supporting this podcast and supporting my show on a Chelly network. So please get involved in that. Please, really, I need to raise, not too much money, but some money here in the next couple of weeks. jackblood@hotmail.com. Just write me and say hi. Just write me and say hi. That's all I care about. Write me and say hi, and I'll put you on the newsletter that we're about to start back up. And then if you want one of these limited edition t-shirts done by one of my favorite artists ever, who did one of the best logos we never sold this anywhere. We're going to do it, but for a very limited edition, and then we'll move on and do a different one. And so each one will be different. Okay. So if you get a t-shirt in any of these runs, you'll be one of like 30 people in the world that have that t-shirt, and we're not making them ever again. So a $50 donation does it. jackblood@hotmail.com. And then you can use PayPal or Zelle, Zelle. Zelle, that goes from your bank to my bank. Or if you just don't care and you want to send like some karma, like $5 or $10, man, that's going to help us. That's going to really help us keep going. And I could keep doing this on a regular basis. I'd love to do it. I mean, there's just so much when I sit here and think about what I'm going to do a podcast on. There's just so much I want to talk about, but you know me, I get ranting along. So either you like it or you don't like it. If you don't like it, tell me why you don't like it, and maybe I'll make some changes for you guys or whatever. I kind of only have a couple of speeds. That's how I roll. But jackblood@hotmail.com. Our newsletter, we're going to start that September. I think I like to go for September 11th for the first one. And they're super hard to do. Like, I've done this before. It's so much work. And I just don't think, like, I go out and I watch all the stuff you guys watch, and I just don't think we're getting the full story, the 360, So I think I can contribute to that. I'd like to, and I want to. And I want to give something back to people. So if you guys could support us, man, we're kind of at that point right now where we could live or die. And I think if we just get over the hump a tiny bit here and get through this next month or so, I think we're going to be really good, man. And I think there's going to be, look, I can get video editing software and make everything real cool and stuff. You won't have to look at my face as much. And I'll just sit back here and do it like this. But jackblood@hotmail.com. I have I'm gonna guess about 20 shirts for the first edition of Pat Moriarty, who is a famous artist all around the world. He's kind of like the R. Crumb of our generation. He did a great Jack Blood logo. And so we're going to make the first run, those shirts. And we're not going to send them until I sell that whole 30 batch. So if you've already bought some, you just got to wait till everybody else gets in. And then when you do that, please include, this is totally confidential, please include your shirt size, medium, large, extra large, whatever. So I know how to pre-order those, and your address, so I don't have to come back and ask you where to ship them. And then I'm just going to, once we sell that first 30 of this limited edition Jack Blood t-shirt, I'm going to send them all out in one batch, and then we'll look at the next batch. Okay, is that cool? jackblood@hotmail.com. Need you now more than ever. PayPal. PayPal. Sorry. Or Zelle will work. But if you just write and say hi, that'd be cool too. I get all my I look at all my own emails, so I'm one of those guys. All right, I would love to keep going with this. Tell me who. Yeah, I'm gonna go look up who Dave Smith is now. You guys are teaching me something. That's pretty cool. I think we should go 45 more seconds and end this exactly at 111. 111. What do you guys think? And then we're going to do that show Thursday. If Chuck will let me, we'll do that show Thursday, a tribute to Michael Badnarik. And then I'm going to do, I want to do a story on Anarchapulco. I'm going to try to get John Bush with me on that and some other people that are involved in it. You know, I'm going to ask the hard questions, right? Okay. I love you guys. Be bold and shine bright, you crazy diamonds.